Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench once again, and yes, I am wearing my head magnifier with a light on it because I'm about to start reassembling an engine. And this is the OS FS90 engine that I did a disassembly series on, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or so, and then I also did a Boca bearing replacement video on. So as I said in one of those videos, not the Boca video but the other video, this engine style was the very first engine style that I ever attempted to do instructional videos or disassembly, reassembly videos with. And at the time, or when I made that video, I was like, those videos really were horrible. But I went back and I watched some of them, at least maybe the second set I did on them. I think I did 2 on this engine. And the second one really wasn't quite so horrible. In fact, I was actually looking at it and using it to remember how to properly do this. And I think the first video, or the first set, I did something, the timing, and reassembled the front housing in the wrong order or in a less beneficial order than I should have. And then in the second one, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to learn from my mistakes and do that. So the bottom line here is that I am considering going ahead and making another one of these reassembly videos of this particular engine. And so I've got my headpiece on here, my magnifier, so when I'm making this video, hopefully you won't see this in the video too much, but there are times when I really need to get in close and look at things, and it's not so easy to just do away from my body and under the scope of the camera. So bear that in mind, and if I do happen to put my head in there, I will try not to be talking at that time. And I will also try to be conscious of that and then just show exactly what it was I was doing, or at least show what I'm going to be doing in advance. So with all that preface said, let's go to the table and show you kind of how I'm starting this. Okay, so here on the table I've got a number of things going on here. I just was laying parts out, looking at them, and the reason this has taken so long for me to get back to this is because of this. I had been waiting for these gaskets to come. Now, it wasn't just because of this, it was because I was looking to see what other gasket sets I needed for other engines so that I could make one purchase. So it wasn't like I was just, the vendor was slow in this. It was that I was kind of slow because I was looking at, you know, what other engines in the future here that I might be doing am I going to need gaskets for. So now that I've got these gaskets, I can at least continue on with the timing, or with the reassembly of this engine. So a lot of this stuff is not going to be pertinent to the video today, just because I won't get that far, because I want to try and break this down into more manageable chunks as opposed to just one long video. So this first one, you may not see a whole lot of reassembly because I've already been speaking and I want to keep this a little bit shorter. But let me take my head thing off right now because that's really hot. So the first thing I've got laid out here is this stuff down here, and maybe I can just zoom in a bit here on that stuff. So here's our camshaft, and I'm going to be referring to the exploded parts breakdown for proper terminology of these things. So I forgot to pull that up. I did print out something here that I'm going to be using later. So let me pause this video for a moment and go print out the exploded parts breakdown so that I can use the proper terminology, because I may say this is something and that's really not the proper name for it. So let me do that real quick. Okay, I'm back. So I have printed out the most of, well, 2 pages, 1 page actually, of the FS90 instructions. And this is the exploded parts breakdown. So unfortunately, they have this nice exploded parts breakdown with all the part numbers of the assemblies and individual pieces, but they don't have a listing that shows the name. So I had to go and do a search. So the only ones I was really able to search for and talk about because they're relevant to this particular video is this. This is an assembly. This is called the drive gear assembly. And we'll be getting to that at some point today, maybe not in this particular video. And this is the camshaft assembly. And obviously it has the camshaft on there, but the assembly, part of the assembly is this reverse thread screw that I'm going to unscrew right now. And then put it back in this bag of oily parts. So what I'm going to do here initially is I wanted to say that when I've always said something kind of negative about those Harbor Freight's O-ring sets, which I'll just kind of flash them here in front of you. Metric, SA, 225 piece sets from Harbor Freight. For the most part, they're pretty useless, but I actually found O-rings here in this set that are really, really good for doing this particular engine. So one of them was this guy here, which is kind of fat looking. And if you put this over this cover and this goes on the timing cover side, you'll see that this actually fits in there really well, just like it should. So that's kind of a nice fit, because it would probably be very difficult to find these exact O-rings from OS now. I mean, it's possible, but then in the metric side, I found these two little bitty guys. If I can pick one up, and they kind of have to stretch over there a little bit, but they actually seem to fit perfectly in this area here. So I've got some nice seals, which I was really happy about, because you don't want to necessarily be putting these things together without these seals, because the pushrod tube tends to just kind of flop around and you might get a little more excess oil coming out of the engine. So it's always good, but a lot of times when you get these older engines like this, those things are so dry rotted and nasty. So here I've got the tappets, and before I can just start driving, putting this cam timing assembly in here, camshaft assembly in, I have to get the tappets in place. So you can see here the tappets are offset, and the only way to get them in there is through here. And here's what the tappets look like up close and personal. They're unlike most tappets you'll see, because these are like T-shaped blocks, and they're flat on each side, kind of rounded on the ends and flat on the sides. So what I have to do here is I'm going to put a little bit of oil in those holes and oil on these things. And this is where I had my headpiece on, because this is where it gets kind of challenging. So what I have to do here is, I know it's very difficult to see in here. In fact, I'm going to try and shine a light in there so you can see. I don't know if that's going to work. You can see those two holes. I think you can. I think I got the light shining up through those two holes. Anyway, so they're kind of recessed in there. So what I end up having to do with putting these timing or these camshafts in place is I use some angled nose pliers, and this is probably where I should probably put my headpiece back on, because I really need a light. I don't know if I need to replace the battery in this light or not, but it just doesn't seem that bright, or get a different headpiece. But so the flat pieces, the flat sides go this way and this way, and not like this. So it goes in here like this. So I have to try to hold that tightly enough and find the hole. That's really hard to find because it's a blind fitting. I really can't see the hole. And the hole, put the back one in first. It's in the back, so it's kind of laying in there. You can kind of maybe see it kind of laying in there, and then I'm just going to see if it'll just drop into place. So that one just kind of dropped nicely into place. And I think the key is here, I need to make sure that it stays, that it doesn't turn, so that it'll allow me to drop that other one in, so the other one is not in the way, or the head's not in the way. I got that back one in pretty easily the first time I tried this morning too, and it was this one that's actually got the hole furthest forward that I was having the most difficulty with, but it looks like I dropped it right in place there. And so this is where I got earlier today. You can see it's kind of in the hole, but it's not seated. There. So the head was turning like this. So now it's
fully seated.
God, I don't like this particular flashlight. It's just really bright.
So hopefully you can see them in there, and it just really casts this horrible glare when I turn this light on. But
so that's in there. So now what I can do is I can insert, I'm not timing the engine at this point, I'm just inserting the camshaft in here. That's all I'm doing. So I just insert that camshaft in there, and then what we can do is put our little reverse thread screw in place. And this is not something you want to torque at all. And of course I don't have my screwdriver that I specially cut out to break that loose, but since I'm not torquing that at all. And the reason you don't want to torque it is for many reasons. You don't want to put any excess force on that, and once you put the cover on, that's not going anywhere. So there you go. And I know I didn't point out, but if you saw that last Boca video on this, you saw that I installed 2 new bearings in there. So that's it. So the next part of this will be, I just want to talk about this timing gear real quick. So, and I didn't show this, but this here, here, and here are all screws. They are screws that hold this tooth portion to the main adapter plate or the camshaft plate. Only this dot here that's closer, well, it's right in between these 2 screws, that's our timing dot. And if I rotate that around,
I think you can see there's actually an alignment mark.
Damn, that's really hard to see. Maybe turn my light off on my head.
Hopefully you can see that.
I'm having a hard time telling if you can see that or not.
Right here, there's an alignment mark. Timing alignment mark,
which coincides with that dot. So when you go to time this engine, you'll have it at top dead center, pistons at top dead center, and that timing mark can either go at the very top, as it is at 12 o'clock, or it can go at the 6 o'clock position. It doesn't matter.
Either way, the engine is timed perfectly. If that's at 6 o'clock, or if that's at 12 o'clock. As long as your piston is at top dead center, it doesn't matter. So the one document that I've ever seen, and this will probably be someplace I can put on my Google Drive. This is the document that I've seen and found when it comes to timing this OS FS90 and probably the FS, I think they made an FS80 like this too, maybe even a 75. This is how you time these engines. And I just said that that timing dot, they're showing it at the 12 o'clock position in relationship to top dead center.
But I've also found that it doesn't matter. You can have it at 6 o'clock position with the piston at top dead center and you're still timed correctly. So that's as far as I'm going to go on this first video. The next video will be me installing this guy on here, the what's it called, drive gear assembly, and then putting the front housing on, because I found that it's easier and installing the piston and sleeve and all that good stuff. I found that it's easier if you go ahead and put this all in here together like this and have your piston in there, and then you can hold it at top dead center, and then when you go to do the timing, you kind of see, what I do is I kind of hold this timing gear at 12 o'clock with my finger and just pop it into place like that. So that's what I'll do in the next video.